Yo, what's up, everybody? How you doing? This is your coach Renz, and I want to make a quick little video here because last night I was on Kevin Wesley's podcast. It was a great podcast. Had a real good conversation. Lasted about 3.5 hours as usual. And if you guys are interested in it, please join us every Sunday at 8 p.m. I'm on there with him most of the time, so I'm not guaranteeing I'm gonna always be on there, but it's a great show. But during the podcast last night, we were asked the question of, do we believe in God? So Kevin gave his answer, and if you want to know what his answer is, you can go over to his page and ask him. But I gave my answer, but because I was trying to read the chat lines at the same time, I feel like I didn't give a good, concise, or complete answer. And I feel like, because I don't remember what I was saying, that's why I'm saying I feel like, because I don't know. I don't remember everything I said, and I feel like I was rambling. And I probably was, because I know I can run my mouth. So I decided that I wanted to come on here and do a quick little video and explain in better detail, without rambling, without distraction, as much as I can muster up here, my stance on a God. Okay, so first we have to identify a few things. Most people will identify God as some type of corporeal being, as far as a religion, as based on some form of religion, whether it is an ancient religion or a current religion. But God is generally defined by most people as this being that has a body, that has an existence on the matter plane that we exist on right now. And that is what they will refer to when they say God. Now, for me, I do not refer to a God. I do not believe in the existence of a God that exists in a bodily form, in a corporeal form. There's no God that comes down to earth and exists on the planet Earth that has that walks around and talks to people and impregnates virgins or impregnates other men's wives and do all these things, that comes down and creates floods and burn people and punish people and all this sort of thing. So I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that type of God. I also don't believe in the ancient styles of God who created man with clay and pulling out ribs and walking around in the garden, and you got doing test tubes with his wife and son and down in the Apsu. I do not believe those to be gods. They may have been beings, entities that came down here and played around with the genome of man. But I do not believe them to be gods. Higher technology doesn't make you a god. So I don't, when it comes to people like the Sumerians and those that go Tekli and the Egyptians, I don't look at them as gods either. They are just beings, all right? Where they come from, what they really are, how they exist. Specifically, there's writings, but I wasn't there, and they're not here telling me, so I don't know. So that's not God to me. Now, do I believe that there is a, for lack of a better term, God, which I actually use the term creator. Is there a creator? Because I'm not going to say that Vishnu and Krishna and just Dharma and all that sort of thing is a god. That Quetzalcoatl is a god. They're not gods. All right, they may have existed in some form or fashion, and as all things that exist that people put importance on, they exist, and then they become legend, and then they become myth, and so on and so forth. So no, I do not believe in that form of a god being. Now, so what do I believe in? Well, let me establish one more thing before I go there. This idea of a God that is emotional, that exhibits traits like people, like humans, like man, a God that has this idea of reward and punishment, that there is a God that's looking down in your bedroom to see who's messing around with whom, and this race is more important than that race, and the existence of race, period, and I'm more favorable to this group than that group. I don't believe in any kind of being, supreme being, could possibly be a supreme divine being that would exhibit those kinds of characteristics and behaviors. Now, do I believe in sin? No. And yes. There is only one kind of sin that I believe exists in the world. And that is the sin that when you do things to make yourself unhappy, to make you suffer, that is a sin. And the only other reflection of that is when you do things to make you happy, but in doing so, it injures others, it deprives them of their ability to do what makes them happy, then that is a sin. Now, I'm not saying that I am with the satanic church and do what thou wilt, even though that is exaggerated as to what the meaning of that is as well. But basically, if eating ice cream once a year makes me happy, if having a Crown and Coke, however often minorly, makes me happy, but I'm not doing it in access, I'm not getting out there and, oh, I want to have a rum and Coke and that's going to allow me to drive, then I'm going to drive and have a wreck and kill somebody, then yes, my happiness has caused somebody else pain and I've prevented them from having their happiness. If happiness is making love, but I'm going to force somebody to make love to me, then I am interfering with their happiness. So now that's not good. But making love in itself and that person is willing, then we're both happy. That's not a sin. I don't care if we're married or not. It's not a sin. So no. Now tricking somebody into it, manipulating a small child, anything like that, that's a sin because you're infringing on someone else's happiness. So that's how I view sin. Beyond that, all this, wear this clothes, don't put this in your hair, you know, don't walk more than, take more than 1,000 steps on the Sabbath, on Saturday. You know, the Sabbath is Saturday and not Sunday, and drinking, period. No, that's man. That's man. So now that that's established, what is God? God is, because I believe that everything in the universe is created by an intelligent brain, an intelligent mind. And I don't even really like saying brain or mind. Really, it's consciousness, an intelligent consciousness. That is intelligent design. But that being, that creative mind, that intelligent mind, is infinite. It's an infinite creative mind, creative intelligent. The creator is just that. Pure in that. Devoid of this emotion that people want to put on it. You see, only man exists on the polarity scale of love and hate. A creator of all things cannot exhibit this trait of love and hate, but yet just puts the system out there for us to be able to use, because we work on the finite mind in this corporal body, in the poverty of the flesh and on the matter plane. So that's how we exist. We cannot take our traits, how we exist, and put that on the infinite, because if we did, then it would no longer be the infinite. You see, if the creator needed to have emotions, needed to love, needed to hate, if it did love and if it did hate in the same way we do, then it is not the infinite creator, because then it's brought down to the level of man. If the creator separated itself in any form or fashion, it became another being, took away from itself, then it's no longer the creator, because the creator can never not be itself, nor ever could it not know itself. So the creator can't be something that is less than what it is, or take away from itself and then add it back to itself, because then for a slight sliver of a moment, it was not complete in all itself. So therefore, it cannot be the creator. It cannot be the infinite. It cannot be the all in all, because it's not all. If the creator reproduces through sex, through whether it's divine spiritual sex, but through the sperm and the egg, and manifests itself as a baby of any of these religions, if it's Hercules, if it's Dionysus, if it's Jesus, if it's Hero, if whoever, then that is not the all as well. It's not the all. It's not the divine creator. So that is not my idea. That is not my belief of a God. And here's the biggest thing. If a creator requires me to worship it, needs me to give worship to it, then that is not an infinite being, because it is a being that is in need. And any being that is in need cannot be the infinite, cannot be the all, cannot be the creative mind, cannot be the infinite mind, I should say, because we all have a creative mind, but cannot be the infinite mind. So infinite consciousness, infinite intelligent consciousness is what I believe is the creator of all that is in existence. But that's all it is. We exist in the thought of the creative mind, of this infinite mind. But that is all that it is. It is just the creative mind. It is not a being to worship. It is not a being that comes down in some kind of form that we can visualize. It is not a spirit that we can just tap into and it speaks to us, because it just exists and says, here's the law of gravity. Use it. Use it however you choose to use it. Here's the law of centrifugal force. Use it however you choose to use it. Here's the laws of attraction. Here's the law of cause and effect. Use cause and effect however you choose to use it on every plane of existence. As above, so below. There's 7 different levels that if you want to be in a Christian mindset or in a Muslim mindset, however many levels you want to put it, create it. But as above, so below, that cause and effect exists on every plane of existence. That it just creates, because it just creates. At some point, you have to recognize, or I recognize, you don't have to do anything. I recognize that my brain, my consciousness is finite. Finite in its ability to comprehend this universe. And because it's finite, I will never fully comprehend the all, the infinite. Therefore, I look at and I see as much as can be proven and as much as can be known. And then from that, I have a hypothesis. I have an estimation, because no one has ever been to a higher consciousness or lower consciousness and came back with proof. And until that happens, then everybody at some point had to take a small step of faith. But what I refuse is to accept false information. What I refuse to accept beings of being God that cannot even measure up to the criteria of being the God. So what I look at is, does it measure up? If it measure up, then it measure up. If it doesn't measure up, then it doesn't measure up. And from that information, from that knowledge, from that knowing, from that conscience with science, from that with knowledge, dioth, going through the dioth, from that accessing the trivium, knowledge, coupled with understanding that creates wisdom. That's where I come to my understanding that the creative mind is infinite, intelligent consciousness. That's it. I was about to say mind. Consciousness. And that's it. But I want to thank everybody for being here. Appreciate you guys giving me an opportunity to express that fully. If you saw the podcast and were a little bit confused about my thought process on it, that is my thought process on it. I went much deeper than that on my Patreon account, where I talked about it's 4 different videos. Each video is about 40 minutes long, of breaking down the law of mentalism, where I go through that whole process. So that's why it was hard for me to express it in that short moment that I was on there, and it is still hard for me to express it in this short moment, all aspects of it. So if you have any questions, hit it down in the comments. Please continue to subscribe. And if you're watching this on Facebook, come on over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you get notifications. I'll probably do a podcast tonight. So you guys check it out. Have a great day. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself. Why? Because your greatness is non-negotiable.